Hi, great people. Welcome to my YouTube channel. So, as I promised, I'll be looking at insights that we gain from the book of Joy, that is talking about the conversations that these two people have. And today's topic is basically about joy and happiness, and something little about the concept of suffering. So, to begin with, we are looking at the difference between joy and suffering. Are these two different from each other, or are they related? So, I was trying to look at the meanings in the dictionary, and this is what I found. So, the notational meaning. So, it defines joy as a feeling of great pleasure and happiness. It gives synonyms such as delight, triumph, rejoicing, amongst others. And then for happiness, it is the state of being happy. So, of course, now that it's a state, of course, that's true. I was prompted to look at, okay, how does the dictionary define the word happy? So, looking at that, it's a feeling or showing pleasure. So pleasure was also in the definition that we had for joy. So feeling or showing pleasure or contentment. Okay, so that is what the dictionary says. So according to the dictionary, these words are kind of related in some way. But then looking at it like internally and really analyzing the two, there is actually a difference. And I'm just sharing insights that we have from this book here. So I'll start from the part that says, this is just on the third page. I'll skip all the other unimportant conversations and the interactions and all that. So I'll just go to what is really important. So joy, as the Archbishop said during this week, is much bigger than happiness. While happiness is often seen as being dependent on external circumstances, joy is not. So I think from this, we are able to tell that indeed joy as a concept is greater than happiness. When we look at as someone who is happy, we're told that it is dependent on external circumstances. So, for example, when you get a gift from a loved one, you're happy. A visit from somebody you really care about or love, you become happy. When you travel to your favorite destination, you're happy. But joy, on the other side, needs more than that, because now you're looking at this, you're traveling to the destination that you really love. In as much as it makes you happy because it is something that you've achieved, to look at it with more insight and try to see the wholesomeness of the whole experience, if that makes sense. So when you look at the teachings, we're told that the dialogues were about what the Dalai Lama has called the very purpose of life. So we are being asked, or we are questioning, what is the basic purpose of life? And this is what he says: the goal of avoiding suffering and discovering happiness. So basically, that is the essence of living: avoiding suffering and discovering happiness. And I just want to read a part that is really important. It says, together they explored how we can transform joy from an ephemeral state into an enduring trait, from a fleeting feeling into a lasting way of being. So we're looking at the difference here. So we want to move from state, okay, to trait. So meaning that it is something that you can cultivate. A trait is something that you can cultivate so that it becomes part and parcel of you. The main question here is, people are really asking, is it really possible to be joyful even in the face of our daily trouble? Because life is full of a lot of turbulences, but then amidst all that is happening, are we able to actually maintain our cool? So that is the question of the century. So I'll skip anything else that is not important. And we are told that so many people had to send questions about joy. So we invited the world to ask their questions about joy. And although it turned out we had only 3 days to collect them, we received more than 1,000. It was fascinating that the most asked question was not about how we could discover our own joy, but how we could possibly live with joy in a world filled with so much suffering. Okay, so moving on, I want to talk about suffering in itself. Well, we're talking about the Dalai Lama, and we're told that he's a spiritual leader of Tibetan Buddhism. Okay, so when you look at Buddhism, they have suffering as a really, it's part and parcel of their belief system, if I can say. So they have 4 noble truths, and all of them revolve around suffering. Okay, so noble truths of Buddhism, just if I can just go over them. So the first one talks about the truth of suffering. So the truth about suffering, it's part and parcel of our life. We cannot run away from it. So it's here with us. The second noble truth is the truth and the causes of suffering. So they look at what is it that causes suffering. And then the third one is the truth and the end of suffering. So how can you end suffering? And then the last one is the truth of the path that leads to end of suffering. So they've discovered, well, suffering is part and parcel of life. Number two, what is it that causes suffering? Number three, how can we bring an end to this suffering? And the last one is we're looking at the path that leads to the end of the same. Well, I feel like the last two are kind of related, but they're two different entities altogether. Like suffering is a whole concept over there. And the good thing is in this book is able to actually summarize everything here. And so that's why it's important for us to also talk about suffering. So he says suffering is inevitable, they said, but how we respond to that suffering is our choice. Not even oppression or occupation can take away the freedom to choose our response. So basically, they're saying you going through whatever you're going through, it's not the problem. The problem is how you respond to it. So the next chapter talks about how we are fragile creatures. And there's a quote here that says, life is filled with challenges and adversity. The Archbishop continued, fear is inevitable, as is pain and eventually death. All right. So this is just here to remind us that when we are going through tribulations in life, it's a normal thing. So the best thing is look at how you're gonna respond to it. So he says discovering more joy does not save us from the inevitability of hardship and heartbreak. In fact, we may cry more easily, but we will laugh more easily too. Perhaps we are just more alive. Yet, as we discover more joy, we can face suffering in a way that enables rather than embitters. We have hardship without becoming hard. We have heartbreak without being broken. These are really amazing things. Like you will face whatever you're facing, but you don't let it define you. You don't let it keep you down. You look for solutions. So it's mostly about, well, something is going to happen. You're expecting that it won't be like forever all good. But then when something happens, how are you going to react to that? Okay. Kind of makes me feel sad because, well, it's about like solving one problem after the other, and so it's just problem solve it repeats, like it's just a cycle. But anyway, so I want to conclude because I don't want to make this so long. If you really want to know the in depth of what is being discussed, I think you can just read the book. I'm just going through what I feel like is important. So he said it does not matter whether one is Buddhist like me or a Christian like the Archbishop or any other religion or no religion at all. So it doesn't matter. From the moment of birth, every human being wants to discover happiness and avoid suffering. No differences in our culture or our education or our religion affects this. From the very core of our being, we simply desire joy and contentment. But so often, these feelings are fleeting and hard to find, like a butterfly that lands on us and then flutters away. We talked about the truth of suffering. It's here with us. We can never run away from it. Okay. So the other part, when I was talking about the noble truths, is the truth of the causes of suffering. So he says the ultimate source of happiness is within us, not money, not power, not status. Okay. So it is like for us to find true joy, it's within us. It's within us. It's not entwined or entangled to any external factor. It has to be from within us. So, what is it that you feed yourself with? So, he says, some of my friends are billionaires, but they are very unhappy people. Power and money fail to bring inner peace. Outward attainment will not bring real inner joyfulness. We must look inside. So he continues and says, sadly, many of the things that undermine our joy and happiness we create ourselves. Often it comes from the negative tendencies of the mind, emotional reactivity, or from our inability to appreciate and utilize the resources that exist within us. The suffering from a natural disaster we cannot control, but the suffering from our daily disasters we can. We create most of our suffering, so it should be logical that we also have the ability to create more joy. It simply depends on the attitudes, the perspectives, and the reactions that we bring to situations and to our relationships with other people. When it comes to personal happiness, there is a lot that we as individuals can do. Okay, so it's basically about shift in perspective. So if you encounter a problem, if you encounter a suffering, um, we shall be looking at it, because I know you have a lot of questions, but in the subsequent videos, because I don't want to make it so long, we shall be looking at all these things so that we gain an insight into the many things that are being talked about here. So at least today we learned that there is a difference between joy and happiness. We are able to learn that suffering is part and parcel of our daily lives, at least as human beings. And we also learn that the cause of suffering is actually things that we inflict ourselves, and we also have the power. The same way we create them ourselves, we are able to actually, you know, get rid of them ourselves the same way. So I hope this has been insightful. I look forward to doing the next video whereby we shall be answering most of these questions, because probably looking at things that happen, and maybe they're way beyond our control. So there is something that the Archbishop and the Dalai Lama say about the same, and I'm sure it's something that you also want to learn. So keep in touch. I will be doing that in the subsequent video. So see you in the next one. Bye for now.